Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Sunday, March 18th, 2018 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I am worthy of knowing the divinity of this life experience. And as we wrap up Pisces, we're coming to the end, to the final few days of Pisces energy, we have some collaborations going on planetary-wise that are going to be helping us make some shifts, but I want you in your consciousness to remember your divinity. That's part of the balance in oneness. It's one of those things. It's like, you know, you're a part of the all that is. So you're not that special. And yet you are so special in your divinity, in your individual essence that you bring forward. And that's part of just like understanding the balance of things and being in your own personal balance is remembering that like, oh, well, you're one of a million and yet you're one in a million, or maybe it's one in a gazillion trillion, you know, whatever the numbers are, but really knowing the divinity which you carry as part of your story, knowing that, carrying that forth, walking as such, treating yourself as such, and moving forward as such. And I think that's going to help you with some of these energetic collaborations that we have going on planetary-wise. So we've got, like I said, several connections, several collaborations going on. We have Saturn and Capricorn collaborating, working with Lilith again. So Lilith is like, I am going to remind you the responsibility of being one unto yourself. I am going to remind you the responsibility of listening to the beat of your soul. I am going to remind you the responsibility of honoring that which is the bedrock of your soul. That is your foundation. That's your reason for being. So Lilith is like, hey, Saturn, come on. I got a kitty on my lap with claws. Come on, Saturn. You know, push this responsibility, push this forward. The next collaboration, which I think is going to be a very potent collaboration, is the Sun conjunct Chiron. So we just had this beautiful new moon, which I spoke so much about being a closing energy. You know, as Chiron is finishing up in Pisces, it's going to finish up this year, move into Aries, come on back, and then finish up for till the next cycle of Chiron and Aries. So this is a major time of clearing karmic shift. So with the sun lighting up the Chiron energy, we're doing some major healing work. Now what's interesting is that this connection, this collaboration with the sun and Chiron is at 28 degrees. That is 10 energy. So 10 can be endings and new beginnings all at once, but 10 is also knowing your worthiness. You are a 10, and so there may be some old wounds around worthiness being stimulated, coming up, and this is where you need to focus that work at. You know, I'm worthy of a beautiful life. I am worthy of a fulfilling life that I desire. You know, really holding that energy and sorting out any of those places that take you off that track or have taken you off that track or make you believe anything other than that. So that's some powerful stuff working. And then the third powerful little essence going on is we have the moon, Mercury, and Venus all hanging out in Aries, and they're almost all together. We're building into a Venus-Mercury conjunction. That will be later tomorrow, but it's all happening around 15 degrees. They'll be at like 14, 15, 16 degrees, but they're all right there working together, collaborating, like I said. And that energy, Venus and Aries, working the self-love, loving your I am, finding that harmonic balance within yourself. Now Mercury is in the shadow, so Mercury is preparing to go retrograde, but as Mercury is in this shadow energy, Mercury is bringing up the mental energy and the mental shadows that may be around your I am that hold you back from completely acknowledging, embracing the I am vibration and taking that action that is then in accordance with what you know to be true to you. Again, this comes back to the bedrock of your soul essence. that we just talked about with the Lilith energy. So Mercury's amplifying the mental energies around it. You may hear all the reasons why not, and yet it is your work to shift and remind yourself of all the reasons why. Now the moon in this is very interesting because the moon is now waxing, beginning to grow, build. We're building into full moon. Little ways away because we just had the new moon, but still the power of the emotional, the power of the yin is moving forward with the moon in this part. Now the moon can represent our emotions, but it also can represent hidden emotions. And I just feel with the essence of today, beyond with the Lilith and the Chiron going on and this collaboration, there may be some hidden shadows that do come up. And amongst the cards I have, once again, the sorrow card. So if you are feeling the sadness, the sorrow, any pain, it's a good thing ultimately, I believe. I mean, we don't really want to sit there, we don't want to stay there, but you have to feel these things to heal these things. You cannot just brush it under a rug and expect to feel better. That's not how it works. I'm going to show you this card before I get completely into all the rest of the astro. I have the sorrow card and the Thunderbolt card. And my feeling is that with this, and this may go hand in hand with the Aries stuff, there may be some ego stuff coming up that has to come crashing down. Now the ego can be like, yes, I am so grand, but the ego can also be, ugh, I am not worthy of this. And that may be where this silent, internal sadness is coming from. That part of your soul that feels this essence of you that doesn't know its worthiness. And so that to me is what needs to come crashing down at this point. This to me is the point of this Thunderbolt card. You must know your worthiness. You are worthy of knowing the divinity of your life experience. You are worthy of that. It is a divine life experience, and I don't care who you are or where you are on your journey, it is a divine experience, and you are a divine being in the midst of a divine experience. If you can shift your mind around that, that's going to lead to some big steps in your life. It's not always easy because, oh, I am not worthy. I mean, that's something I grew up Catholic. We said that like every day at church, I am not worthy. Oh, yes, you are. I don't know why they wanted us to think that we were not worthy, but that doesn't really matter because yes, you are. And this is the day. This is the day to grasp it. And this is the day to cut, shift any of those things that have made you feel unworthy along the lines of your being. So, moon in Aries, helping drive us forward, hopefully helping us connect to the passion of our divine I am worthiness. Moon in Aries will be connecting to Saturn as well. This is a little bit of a square. And it may be, again, Saturn and Capricorn tuning us into responsibility. It may be tuning us into societal responsibility. But ultimately, it always does come back to your responsibility to your soul. Your responsibility to your soul is your responsibility to your purpose and is your responsibility to all that is. So if you have shifted your responsibility to society, just realize this may be blocking your ultimate responsibility. And there's a chance to hopefully shift that. Moon, like I said, aligning with Venus and aligning with Mercury. It's aligning with Venus at 14 degrees and then it's aligning with Mercury at 15 degrees, right? As they all kind of like collaborate and mingling together. Hopefully, moon connecting to Venus will stimulate your knowing of divine harmony and love within yourself. Although, like I said, the moon can always bring up the shadows. So you may get to experience some of those places where you don't see yourself as this blooming being, that you're still sitting in this place. And it's okay if you do, because we all have that. But you get to shift. You get to know yourself as this beautiful, connected, divine being. The moon connecting to Mercury hopefully will be actually that shift that needs to happen with that. That Mercury shift is 15 degrees. 15, that's 6. And so 6 energy connects with that Venus. It connects with knowing your divine beauty, your divine love, your divine harmony, because you were made perfectly imperfect. All right, so I think the big thing, though, today is that Sun conjunct Chiron, and I think that's where this ultimate wounding is coming from. All the other astro is like the supporting players. Sun, Chiron, those are your main actors. They are the ones who are they're up for the awards today in the play in the sky, and the others, all the supporting actors helping dig into that deeper issue. Beyond this, I have the inner voice and I have the We Are the World card. What I feel like with this, it's saying, I mean, obviously listen to your inner voice, but it's like focus on yourself. There may be those calls and pulls to focus on everything outside of yourself. Today's not the day for that. Today is the day. Listen, what is your intuition telling you that you need? From Miracles Now, I can think my way out of fear, and I dissolve all boundaries with love. And I really do feel like this works for yourself. I can think my way out of fear. Can you think your way out of fear? I don't know, but you can definitely love yourself out of the fear that is holding you back. The fear of being worthy. I go back to Marianne Williamson's poem. Our fear is not that we are inadequate. Our fear is that we are these beautiful, amazingly powerful beings. So it's time to dissolve what's holding you back, the fears that are holding you back, dissolve those with the self-love process. And the Rumi card is long, so I'm gonna try to read only some of it, but I was skimming through and I was like, oh man, this is good. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4 pages long, 5 pages long, like it just keeps going and going. So instead of checking how many pages, I'm just gonna dig in. It is the Sacred Soul Sister card. When you are conscious, a cloud of sadness surrounds you. When you are beyond consciousness, the moon rests in your arms. When you are conscious, the beloved moves out of your reach. When you are beyond consciousness, the ecstasy of love moves your way. When you are conscious, you are depressed like fall. When you are beyond consciousness, the winter cold feels like spring. All your wavering is due to your longing to be stable. Look for instability until you become stable. Wow, that could just speak to my life right now. There's a valid point of view that we travel this path of our life journey alone. Our deepest descents into the psyche happen alone. We meet death alone and come into the world alone. And yet there is a vaster perspective that we are never alone, that it would be impossible to really be alone. We are connected to all life, and there is no such thing as being alone in reality, only in limited and temporary perception. And if such community were not enough, there is a partner, an ally who journeys with you from death to birth and beyond again and again. You have a sacred sister, a sister of your soul. She weaves the stories of truth through dreams and insights that come upon you as if from nowhere. Perhaps they drop into your mind or seem to erupt from within you, but that is her talking to you, demanding or reassuring, depending on what the occasion best calls for at the moment. Her truths may seem overly dramatic, so you may discount them as workings of an overactive imagination, or perhaps her truth tales are so subtle that you dismiss them as meaningless, fleeting fancy. The wise ones know, however, that the truth of the Sacred Soul Sister are powerful, relevant, and worthy of time and attention. They know her oftentimes strange and startling offerings hold the key to unlock entire worlds, to open up new realities, and transform the nature of our existence from the deeper and most esoteric spiritual levels to the most palpable, practical, daily realities of our living bodies in the physical world. Your Sacred Soul Sister is your partner in consciousness. Make no mistake, she is you. She is just the part of you so great you cannot always see her from your conscious mind. It is sort of like the eye of the dog, trying to see its whole self, which is a bit tricky, for as it moves to see its rear, so the rear is moved along too. So rather than through direct perception, the Sacred Soul Sister is met through reflection. She can be received in those moments of rest where great ideas are born. She is a genius, you see, vastly creative and inspired. Her worlds are those we access in sleep and meditation, or absorbing engagement in activity, where the mind can relax and drop into realities far more vast than those of daily life to be replenished. She is deep concentration to feel for the truth of movement, to allow for what is emerging to express itself through her, as she is listening rather than demanding to know, to force, to speak, and to direct. To receive her genius and benefit most fully from it requires a willingness to surrender logic and open up to inspiration, to become empty, to let the mind soften and become receptive, open, and permeable. She delivers questions that lead to answers, but not according to demands issued by an insecure and fearful mind. She offers what is genuinely needed and answers the deepest questions of the heart. She is trustworthy, this sister. She cannot betray truth. Therefore, she can be relied upon as a faithful way shower for the heart. So then commune with her. Wise as that impulse is, requires that you learn the ways of her world, the strange symbolic language she speaks. She will never tell you what you already know. Why be so insufficient or inefficient? No, she prefers to educate, elucidate, intrigue, and beguile you as you are drawn into a far more beautiful, powerful, and helpful truths. In her world, in her language, you must suspend your need to immediately understand. Let yourself absorb the imagery, the feelings, the possibilities, to dwell, ponder, be permeated by the wisdom. The appearance of a horse may signify your own spiritual being. The appearance of you may signify a false sense of identity, and not the real you at all. You may see a desert landscape and moonlit nights in your dream. When so much inner growth is happening, you will soon bloom like the springtime. You may dream of charging up hills with great energy, when in your physical world you can barely muster enough strength to get out of bed in the morning. What does all this mean? This apparent contrary world upside down, nothing is as it seems symbolism. The meaning is communication, and the communication is received in repose, reflection, quietness, and rest, and you must trust. Trust her, trust yourself. When something needs to be known, so it shall be. This is necessary so much less than when we expect or what we expect. Your lack of knowing is not ignorance. Your knowingness is your bowing to life with trust. She comes to you with this oracle to remind you everything is all right, and she has your back, no matter what appearance may seem like. She is guiding you with a wider knowledge through circumstance and situations that are ultimately going to free you into greater love than you have ever known. No matter how out of control life may seem, she is letting you know all is proceeding just as it should, and that her will shall manifest. Her will is your wholeness, your completion. Her will must manifest and shall, because her will is nature. It is growth. It is God. She is God in you now. Remember that, and you'll realize that everything's going to be okay. This oracle comes with particular guidance. You know something deep in your bones without knowing how or why or with particular reason. You just know. It doesn't make sense, but you know it, but you still know it. It may be joy that you know. It may be something you know, so much in here. It may be that you know to avoid a certain situation. It may be something is going to work out beautifully, despite appearances to the contrary at a particular moment. It may be that you are meant to take a certain path. You just know. This oracle comes with confirmation that your knowing, mysterious as it is your sacred soul sister talking through you. Trust it, act it, or not accordingly. Sacred honoring ritual is kneel or sit comfortably, preferably on the ground, or somewhere where you feel grounded and anchored to the earth. Rest your hands on the ground or on your legs and say aloud, I call upon the sacred sister of my soul, the shadow priestess of wisdom in the temple of love. You guide me to love, and under the merciful grace and protection of Rumi, who loves me unconditionally, our relationship is one of respect, care, and divine guidance. May I be blessed with receptivity to your genius and capacity for grace of growth, and so be it. Rest for a few minutes, and you have finished your ritual. So, that was a long one, but it felt very important, especially in this energy. Trust yourself. Trust what comes up in and through this. Trust these wounds. Surrender yourself to these wounds. Surrender yourself to any of the emotions that need to come through and up and out. You're worthy of processing what you need to process. So, that being said, go ahead, book a reading at GaiaBlooming.com if you want to dive deeper into your chart or anything coming up for you. The better it gets, the better it gets. There is enough love in the world for you, and I will see you tomorrow. Namaste.